In times of disaster relating to flood, earthquake, landslide, or wildfire, women with disabilities are 2 to 4 times likely to die or seriously injured.
Challenges during disaster, let's talk about, for instance, is flood. A woman in every setup is expected to do house chores, just like a woman with a disability. When they are living in these communities, in their homes, where family has accepted them that they are people like any other person, but also there are barriers if they have to go and fetch water. There are all those challenges. Most of those are going to the rivers. Most of the rivers are far away. How can women with disability get there? Let's say, for instance, there's flood and the bridges have emerged. How do you expect women with disability to cross and go there? Sometimes when there are those kind of disasters, I'm just talking about flood at the moment, some young women with disabilities, intellectual disability, they may be locked up in a room where they need sanitary towel. If they don't have relatives who support them, those are issues that you're talking about because they need to be supported. Most of women with mental health disabilities, some of them are even on medication, and if they're on medication, you wouldn't tell. But if those disasters happen and their medication is not there, they become worse. And when people are running away from disaster, those with physical disability sometimes are forgotten. Those with mental disability, people don't even care, especially for those with mental disability. Deaf, blind, those are some of the different specific needs that I'm talking about in times of disaster.
To raise global awareness on this critical issue, the Women Gender Constituency organized on Saturday, 9 December 2023 at Dubai Expo City, a conversation cycle on resilient storytelling from women at the front line within the framework of the UN Conference on Climate Change, the COP28.
So it is very, very important for governments, for organizations, when they are planning, when they are looking at disaster mitigation and management, they should think of how do we look at those specific. Most of them, they do integrate. We are talking about inclusion. When you integrate, you just bring them together. You don't care whether they have got their crutches, whether they're being taken care of. But when you are inclusive, you look at their specific needs and you ask them, as persons with disability, women with disability, youth with disability, what can we do as we prepare for this action, as we prepare for this disaster that might happen. Like today, there's a lot of disasters happening. You go straight to them, persons with disability. What is it that we can put in place so that in case there's a flood, to make sure that you are taken care of, to make sure that you are not left out. Those are the things that are missed by governments, by organizations. In their planning, in their discussions, they don't involve persons with disability. They decide on their behalf. And that's why we are saying they are talking about charity model and medical model. They are not talking about social model, which is based on human rights.